Hello, I'm Terry Christensen, and this is Valley Politics. Today we'll talk with some neighbors of San Jose's Diridon Station, where BART, high-speed rail, and the huge Google project are coming. They formed a coalition called DANG, which stands for Diridon Area Neighborhood Group. We'll hear their concerns about the impact of these projects and ask them about their goals. Are they NIMBYs who want to stop the projects, or are they looking for feasible ways to mitigate the impact of these developments? And then Councilmember Johnny Khamis will tell us what's going on in his Almaden Council District. We'll conclude with part one of our interview with Dianne McKenna, a county supervisor from 1985 to 96, back when women were a majority on the county board. And that's what's coming up on Valley Politics. Welcome everybody, and welcome Laura Winter and Kathy Sutherland of the Diridon Area Neighborhood Group, or DANG. So tell us what DANG is. What's your territory, Laura?
The DANG neighborhoods surround, or abut if you will, the area that we're kind of collectively calling, the 16-acre Google Village, the station area, the Diridon Station area. And we're comprised of the Gardner neighborhood, the Delmas Park neighborhood, North Willow Glen, Gregory Plaza, Del Monte, and then the Shasta-Hanchett Park Neighborhood Association, which is an umbrella association for 3 separate neighborhoods, but 2 of those neighborhoods abut the station area as well.
And Kathy, how would you describe your neighborhoods?
Our neighborhoods are a mixture. Some of them, for example, we have the SAP Center in it, but a lot of the existing homes were built at the turn of the century through the 1940s. So we have a lot of single-family homes on lots, but we are also experiencing a lot of infill development of residential units, which are becoming more dense.
You mean duplexes?
No,
apartment buildings?
No.
Townhomes?
Even more dense than that. With one of the city is talking about eliminating the one engine inoperable, the OEI ceiling limit, which kind of set the height for the Delmas Park neighborhood.
I see, yeah.
Exactly. At 8 stories. With eliminating the OEI, it can go up to 20 stories. So while nothing has been approved, there is that talk out there.
And what are the goals of DANG? What's your mission?
We have a couple of goals that we've identified. First and foremost, we're looking to increase the number of seats at the Diridon Station Area Plan Committee to give each of our neighborhoods a seat at the table, as well as including somebody from the preservation community, somebody who can speak about the rail, somebody who can speak on environmental issues, etc. We would also like to develop a cohesive transportation and mobility plan. We're going to see a lot of people moving through this area. And then one of our third goals is drafting a very comprehensive plan for dealing with construction mitigation, dealing with some issues surrounding development concerns, aesthetic concerns, height concerns as they abut single-family neighborhoods, things like that.
You want to add to that, Kathy? Or?
That covers a whole lot of it, yeah.
So let's add a little bit more about you two. Are you organizers? Are you community organizers? What? Who are you?
We are community volunteers, neighborhood volunteers.
So you're residents?
We're residents.
Yeah.
We're long-term residents.
Long-time residents.
30 years in the St. Leo's neighborhood, and
Yeah.
Kathy is almost 40 years.
Yeah, almost 40 years. And so we've seen a lot of change, and we've been engaged on a lot of different issues with planning for our neighborhoods and for the greater area. And it's been years and countless hours of volunteer hours.
So it's volunteer, and that's DANG. It's volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you NIMBYs, not in my backyard? That's what a lot of people are going to think.
Absolutely
No.
not.
Absolutely not.
No.
Are you yes in my backyard?
Yes.
Or maybe?
I think what's been built in our neighborhoods is a testament to that. Both Kathy and I, through our neighborhood associations, Delmas Park and Shasta-Hansha Park Neighborhood Association, I've served a couple terms as president, vice president, land use committee chair. We are very proud of our track record of working with developers who are building within our neighborhoods and on our neighborhoods' boundaries of getting really wonderful, high quality, high density development. We don't say no to development, we say no to bad development.
And Shasta-Hansha had also worked with the SAP Center, although it was called something else when the arena was being built.
It was the San Jose Arena.
To sort of mitigate the impact of that traffic.
I, along with one of my partners on the board of directors, we wrote the mitigations plan, myself and KGOOT Connect, which went to Department of Transportation, Redevelopment Agency, the Sharks Organization, and City Council. So I was very heavily involved with that for a number of years, and very proud of the result that we got from SAP Center. It's still a good neighbor.
Are you a homeowner, Kathy?
I am.
And you, Laura?
I am.
So you're both millionaires now, right?
On paper, I suppose.
On paper, right? I mean,
like
the increase in your home value because Google is coming
But
has been
I call
exponential,
it
right?
funny money.
Yeah.
Because it's all on paper. Where am I going to go? I have
Salt
such
Lake City?
No, but my children and my grandchildren all live within 10 minutes of us. Our friends are in the downtown area. This is my community and this is my home. I couldn't ever foresee moving out of it. I've lived here since 1980, seen lots of good things and lots of difficult times, and I'm not going to give up on it now. No,
Laura?
I wouldn't be here.
I agree with Kathy. It's monopoly money. In order to realize that gain, my husband and I would have to sell our house and move out of the neighborhood in the city that we've both worked so hard to make a wonderful place to live. My family has been here since the 1890s. My son lives nearby, my parents are nearby. This is my home. I am not planning on moving anywhere, and I want to stay and continue to make San Jose a wonderful place to live for the next generation.
Okay, good luck. So, 3 big projects you're focused on: high-speed rail, BART. We'll come to them in a minute, but let's start with the Google project, because that's huge. It's a huge chunk of land that your neighborhoods surround.
Yeah.
And it seems like Google is a pretty good partner to have for development. It's a pretty progressive company. They've got a ton of money.
Yes.
They've already committed to affordable housing. They've already committed to open space for open and public space within the development. They're renovating an historic building as a community center now. So they seem like a pretty good partner. Are you optimistic about working with them?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, yes. It is such a blessing to be able to work with one master developer, because if you think of the number of acres that Google has, and if we were working lot by lot with a different developer, we would never be able to have a plan developed.
Or a dialogue that we've been having with Google for the last year and a half.
A year and a half.
Just about since the Station Area Advisory Group was formed, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be one of Google's headquarters. We're going to see, I am confident we're going to see fabulous development out of Google. I think one of the areas where we're concerned, though, is what happens outside of the Google project. Because right now, there are so many proposals coming through the neighborhood that you just think, have you looked at the existing neighborhood plan? How is this all going to tie in to us? And what are the standards for these other developments?
Mm-hmm. Laura, do you want to add?
Yeah, Kathy's right. It's, we think the Google area is great. We think we're going to get very high quality development out of it. But this isn't about Google. This is about the city of San Jose and their responsibility to make sure that the areas outside of that are also wonderful. We want to make sure our quality of life in our neighborhoods remains good. We know it's going to change. We know we're downtown. Nobody's disputing that. But there's been a lot of change in the city, and we've kind of been describing it as like the Wild West atmosphere. Now it's kind of anything goes. We feel like the developers are calling the shots and getting a lot of rules bent on their behalf, and we're worried about what's going to happen. We're looking at what happened at the corner of West San Carlos and Meridian with the high-density apartments that were constructed there, and we had an agreement for 15-foot sidewalks to provide a wonderful way of allowing pedestrians, bikes, scooters to get through there. And at the last minute, that was changed back down to a 6-foot sidewalk. Have you tried to navigate that area these days? It's not good, and we're really worried about more of that happening in this area.
Funny you should have brought that up, Laura, because my next question was, what about the city? The city of San Jose has a history of caving in to developers and big corporations. You can go back to IBM in 1974 in Santa Teresa and bring it up to date. How do you, where are you with trusting the city as a partner to actually hang tough and get the best in community benefits from Google, much as Google's already appears to be offering?
So one of the concerns we have right now is there's talk about a universal development fee. And in the information that was sent out from the Housing Department about the universal development fee, one of the things that they are proposing is to forgive the inclusionary housing fee for downtown residential developments. And then also to reduce fees for parks and for infrastructure.
Just quick interruption, Google has said they'll pay those fees and
But Google has said they will pay all the fees.
Yeah.
But what I don't know is if they're talking about the fees that are in existence today, or if we're talking about the fees, the adjusted fees if a universal development fee gets approved, right? It's huge. But when you talk about exempting downtown development, residential development from inclusionary housing fees, everybody knows that there's a crisis for affordable housing and that we as residents all agreed to tax ourselves to pay for affordable housing. If the city's going to be forgiving fees at the same time, I want to know, or I'm concerned, are the residents going to be expected to make up the difference, or there will be fewer projects that get completed?
Laura?
I think Kathy said it best. This is something we're very concerned with. We feel hopeful working with the city. We've had very good response so far from our elected officials and some of the department directors on meeting with us and understanding our concerns. But a long time has gone by since we started talking about the impacts of the Google project, and we were asked to wait and asked to wait, and those of us representing neighborhoods on the Station Area Advisory Group realized this spring that we were the only people not paid to be on that committee, and it was time for us to advocate for ourselves. We had to take action on our own to do the right thing, and we're doing the right thing, and we really hope and are hopeful that we can work with the city to get some reasonable language and plans in place to make sure this whole area works well.
So the inclusionary housing fees are to help support affordable housing.
The development of,
Why are other fees important? There are park fees and...
Because
it's obvious.
We're very park efficient in downtown.
Yeah.
Yes, parks are important for quality of life to everyone, especially when you're talking about building so much high-density housing. If you don't have green open spaces for people to go, that's not going to work. This has to be a wonderful community. A community without parks is not a wonderful community.
And then some of the infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
We know that there are going to be 20,000 people coming into the area when all is said and done on a daily basis. And to think that that many people can come in without big changes in infrastructure, I don't think it's going to work.
Well, speaking of people coming in 10 years or so, a couple of ways they may be coming are by high-speed rail and BART. So what are DANG's concerns about those transit systems.
Sure. High-speed rail, one of the concerns that we have is what happens at the intersection of Osirey and Virginia on the other side of 280. If high-speed rail goes at grade, in essence, those streets will be cut off. It's anticipated that there will be 20 trains when you add up high-speed rail and Caltrain per hour going through those intersections.
20 an hour.
20 an hour, and that doesn't count heavy freight, ACE, any of the rail lines. And if you think about that and how long it takes to drop the gates, let the trains go through, and then raise them again, those areas are going to be impassable.
Laura, BART?
BART's great.
BART's great.
Can't wait for it. They are talking about raising up all of the tracks right there where the current station is now, about 25, 30 feet in the air. So of course, for my particular neighborhood, we are concerned with noise, we are concerned with the visual impact, etc.
So DANG you're doing community organizing.
Yes.
We are.
Bringing the neighborhoods together. Who's listening?
Everybody so far.
Everybody?
Yeah.
City Council?
They are.
The mayor?
They are.
Yes,
Google?
absolutely. Yes.
I noticed the Mercury News didn't write an article about the creation of DANG, although Spotlight and Inside San Jose did.
Yeah. There was one. I think
There,
George,
Was there?
George
George wrote
Avalos
one.
Oh, good.
did write
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
small article about us. He did not interview anybody from DANG, but there was a small article after our press release.
So it's great that people are listening, and you think you have a good partner to negotiate with Google.
Yes.
What are your challenges? What are the biggest challenges for DANG?
Oh, for me, I feel like it's a time crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Time's
everything
running
is
out.
moving so quickly, and there are so many other changes that are being proposed that affect development in the Diridon area. And so the reason why we did hire somebody is because that person can look for the changes. We all volunteer, and we do this in our hours, our off hours, right? These are volunteer hours, and we couldn't possibly keep up with all of the nuances and all of the proposed changes that are going on.
So you've got a professional consultant
Yes,
helping
we
you
do.
out. That's very smart.
Yes.
Laura, we got about 10 seconds left. You want to wrap up?
Kathy did a good job. We're going forward with this. It's there's a lot of moving parts here. It's been a time issue, but we're excited by this. We are not against this project and the improvements in any way, shape, or form. We just want, again, San Jose to be a great place for all
Okay,
of
so
us to
both
live.
of you together, just remind us the name of your organization.
Diridon.
Oh,
Diridon Area Neighborhood Group. The
DANG.
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 All
DANG.
right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Terry.
you.
Hello, I'm San Jose Councilmember Johnny Khamis from District 10. District 10 is best known for Almaden Lake and Oak Ridge Mall. It encompasses the Almaden Valley, Blossom Hill, Vista Park, and the West Santa Teresa Foothills neighborhoods. Recreation is important to the residents of District 10, and our parks, trails, and sports facilities are heavily utilized by both residents and visitors. Almaden Lake Park is popular year-round, and 20,000 people showed up for our 6th annual 4th of July Family Fun Festival and Fireworks Show. We also celebrate our annual Almaden Art and Wine Festival sponsored by the Almaden Women's Association. During the summer, residents were treated to a fantastic concert series put on by the city's own Parks Department at beautiful Greystone Park. In my previous update, I talked about the Los Alamitos Bicycle Trail and connecting this trail to the Guadalupe Trail to create a contiguous route from Almaden Valley to downtown San Jose and beyond. I'm happy to report that the master plan and environmental clearances is complete, and we are now working with other agencies to seek grants for the build-out of this trail. In the past, you've also worked with amazing volunteers to plant over 150 seedlings to restore a native oak savanna at the Guadalupe Oak Grove Park. Finally, we're working to preserve the historic Almaden Winery building. A hazardous material abatement was completed, and we're working with the Friends of the Winemakers charity on a plan to restore the building. Please contact me or visit my website to sign up for our email newsletter or to find out more about what's happening in District 10. Thank you.
Now here's part one of our interview with Dianne McKenna, who served on the County Board of Supervisors from 1985 to 96, when women were a majority on the board. Let's take a look. Dianne McKenna, welcome to Valley Politics.
It's good to be here, Terry.
So, Sunnyvale City Council, 1977.
That's
and
right.
then County Supervisor, you were elected County Supervisor in 1984. What got you into politics in the first place? Why were you running for office?
Well, I first ran for Sunnyvale City Council because I'd gotten my master's degree at San Jose State in urban and regional planning.
Yeah.
And I applied for the Planning Commission. And I applied twice and was denied twice. But the second time around, the Ralph M. Brown Act had been passed, which was an open meetings meeting. So I got to see my competition. And there were a number of people applied, and I thought, well, I was at least in the top 3. And none of the people in the top 3 got appointed. So I said, okay, if I can't get appointed to the Planning Commission, I'll run for City Council. And that's what I did, with the support of a community group called Orchards.
Oh, yeah.
We were then,
Yeah.
protecting open space and, trying historical preservation, all of those things. So with their support, I ran and won.
And then 7 years later, ran for County Supervisor.
Supervisor.
Why county? Why were you interested in county government?
Well, I really liked local government, and city government is kind of the nuts and bolts of government. And I'd run into my constituents and all the
Oh, yeah.
shops and be around. And I enjoyed that, but I thought, I'd really like to try something different, but still be local. And so county government, which most people don't understand, is an arm of the state. So it's less parks and roads and those kinds of things, and more social services, health services, community issues. So I thought that would be a nice change in what I have been doing.
And I guess it worked out for you. You were there for 12 years.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes.
So you enjoyed
I
working on those policies.
Yeah, I
particularly.
enjoyed my 12 years there. In the meantime, the citizens passed a term limit for
Oh, right.
Board of Supervisors. But in all honesty, I think the 12 years
12
there
was
out
enough?
of those 2.
You could still be there without term limits. No?
No, I enjoyed my time there.
So when you joined the board, there was a female majority on the board.
Yes.
Zoe Lofgren and Susie
Susie
Wilson,
Wilson.
the 3 of you, and there was a female county executive, Sally Reed.
Right.
Did that make governing different?
It was
Excuse me, for everybody's information, if they don't know, it's a 5-member board, so
So
3 women.
right. I would say on all the bodies that I've served on, where women hold at least the majority of the seat or close to the majority of the seat.
Now be careful, don't be sexist.
I
here.
know. But I'm just going to say, when it came to making the tough decisions, they made the tough decisions. I remember at the city council, I had another woman serving with me, and when a tough decision came up about having to deal with a local restaurant, the 2 of us voted for it. And when the Board of Supervisors came up with jail issues and other kinds of issues, it was the 3 women who really voted on those issues. So my experience has been that, the women will take the tough issues and vote that way.
Well, you mentioned a couple of controversial issues before, the jail being one of them. What do you think were the most controversial things during your time on the county board?
I think that was the most controversial issue.
So this was about overcrowding in the jails.
Right.
And a judge ordered the board to solve the problem
Well,
and threatened to put you in jail.
Right. All of us in jail. And when we said, well, we can't have our meetings, he said, well, we'll only put in 2 at a time so that you can have 3 members. But I think the thing to remember is that the county was building a new jail at the time. It's the current new jail. Well, it's not that new anymore,
Right.
but it's the jail on Heading that was single cells. And the judge wanted single cells. And we said, well, we've got it under construction. And he said, not fast enough.
So when we looked at all alternatives or makeshift things that we could do in the meantime and couldn't come up with anything in the meantime, and basically said, you know, this is our option, this is the only thing that we have. And so he held us in contempt and then was going to throw us in jail. And it's interesting because Zoe Lofgren said to me, you know, there are a few people who are exempt from being put in jail before they have an appeal. Let's go up and change the legislation. And the legislation exempted people like, you know, museums, museum security, and I can't remember, a few others, law enforcement. So we went up and
To the state legislature
to get the law changed so that we would have the opportunity to appeal before we had to go to jail. And in essence, that's what happened. We appealed it, and the judge who heard the appeal overturned the order sending us to jail. So we never went.
So you never went, and the new jail got built with single occupancy cells.
Right.
What about greatest accomplishments? 12 years. What are you most proud of out of those 12 years? Not counting the jail.
Well, there are a number of things. One is the children's shelter, which we built for children who are abused and neglected, and that has its own history. We saved the county library district with the benefit assessment district and bringing together the city managers and the staff and county to have a vote on a joint powers board for the county libraries, and most of the county libraries were in my district. So, and we established that joint powers board, so we basically saved the county libraries. You know, we did, with the help, I know you're going to be interviewing Becky Morgan, with her state legislation, we were able to form locally the Joint Powers Board for the Caltrain service. So we saved the Caltrain service.
And that could have been lost in that period of time, right?
Absolutely.
We take it for granted now.
Yeah, the state was throwing up their hands and said we're not going to provide the service anymore. And then Becky had legislation that said if the locals came together, they could run the service. So we have formed the Joint Powers Board.
San Mateo County, San Francisco County, and Santa Clara County.
And you know, smaller things like we started. I was part of starting the county solid waste program where we did recycling countywide. Now there had been cities doing it, but we started it countywide. So that was nice. And then last but not least, when I first got on the board, there was a proposal to increase development in the hillsides by a factor of 2 to 3. And we did, then we called it Preservation 2020, which kind of stopped that immediate proposal. And then later on, we redid the general plan and kind of codified development in the hillside so we wouldn't see that kind of thing.
So the general plan lays out what the future of the county development should look like on county territory only, right?
Right.
The unincorporated areas.
But you know, the interesting thing is, Terry, is that the county's plan to have development occur in the cities, which makes sense, where the services are provided, took away their opportunity to get tax revenue. So a lot of counties were developing in the hillsides, and so it was a revenue thing. So we kind of, you know, we sacrificed county revenue for the cities to have it in the development.
You also were very active in regional government.
Yes.
Association of Bay Area Governments, which is all the counties and cities around the 9-county Bay Area.
Right.
Metropolitan Transportation Commission, which is the same territory, but focusing on transportation. It seems like that's sort of a thankless task because it's not very high on the agenda of most of your constituents, I'm sure. We'll be back next month with an all-new Valley Politics, including part 2 of our interview with Supervisor McKenna. Meanwhile, you can catch up on previous shows on our website at createtvsj.org or on YouTube by searching for Create TV San Jose. You can let us know what you think about our show and suggest future topics or guests by email at valleypolitics@creatvsj.org, or on Twitter at valley_politics, and by following us on Facebook. And now that's all, folks. Thanks for watching Valley Politics. See you next time.